All the way back in 1997, a game was being released to the PS1 called Final Fantasy VII. Everyone fell in love with it. Whether it was the turn-based system or the story, it was a very difficult game to dislike. And it soon became a favourite game, with many people saying it was their favourite game ever, yours truly included. So when a remake was announced in 2015, there was rightly so a lot of excitement. And after 5 years, we finally got a truly awe-inspiring game. But what many people forget is that in this game, we were introduced to many new NPCs, and the ones we already knew from the original were expanded on even further with backstories. Now, if you enjoy this video, please subscribe for more content. And with that being said, I am MurcianWolf, and this is the list of top 10 NPCs in the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Number 10, Leslie. The first time that we see this NPC, we think of him as just another Corneo crony, just ogling at the girls that Corneo will get to choose from. After all, why would we even want to get to know anything about this guy? We would just forget about him when we get past Corneo's mansion, right? So imagine the surprise when we see him again later on, and he offers to help us, in exchange for something, of course. We then get insight into his history, and he is not as bad as we had first imagined. He has a backstory that makes you feel truly sorry for him, and his desire for revenge against Don Corneo makes us want to root for him. And overall, his addition to the game gives us an even closer insight into how truly despicable Don Corneo is. Number 9, Scarlet. When we think of Scarlet in Final Fantasy VII, all we can think of is that catfight. In the remake though, we do get to see a little more of her. The first time is her responding to reporters after the attack on the reactor. And here she is as scary as she is beautiful. Her willingness to do anything was shown with her utter lack of remorse for the plate collapse during the directors' meeting. And this lack of a moral compass is shown furthermore when she leaves an experiment conducting with materia to the scientists and their implied doom when it is failing. She's not really explored in the original, but with what we're seeing here in the remake, it does lead to the possibility that she will be given a much larger role in the remake in future chapters. Number 8, Roche. When this guy first appeared in the bike chapter, it was a case of, hey, who's this? A completely new character, something that some of us were worried may happen with the remake, that maybe they would deviate a lot from the original and the story. Thankfully though, that was not the case here. He does appear to be another member of Soldier, just like Cloud, and for some reason he has an unknown vendetta against him. The scenes that we were given with him and the battles were strangely satisfying, and while some people were distraught at the new character, he does tend to be like Marmite. You either love him or you hate him. I think his short and brief appearance allows for further development in the next games that won't deviate too much from the story of the original. Number 7, Don Corneo. Don Corneo, the ultimate pervert. The conclusion of a truly great, funny, and memorable chapter of the game, and one that you got to experience 3 times if going for the Platinum Trophy. The moment we have him cowering on his own bed, only to realise that he is in fact in charge. We loved it all. And then there is extra development in the game due to the Colosseum, which shows us just exactly how much control he exerts in Woolmarket. But we also get to see the aftermath of his blabbing to us. His downfall, which is swift, as we go looking for him in the sewers. Something that was not included in the original and did leave us wondering what exactly happened to him. But in this, we do see just how truly despicable a man he is. The impression that this character leaves on us will last for the rest of the game, and I, for one, am looking forward to seeing him again. Number 6, Wedge. One of the original Avalanche group, Wedge was assigned the job of securing the escape route. and he was very happy to have Cloud as part of the mission. But then that is Wedge in a nutshell. Always so happy and carefree, wanting to see the best in people. He is the sort of person who will trust anyone, perhaps even after they betray him. This leads him to join Jessie on her mission through concern of her. And the remake does a good job of making us love this character, something that we could just not do in the original, especially in the scene where he introduces you to his cats. There were conflicting emotions, however, when we saw Wedge on the video in Shinra Tower, because that was completely against what happened in the original. And to now be left in suspense as to whether or not he died does leave a bitter taste in the mouth. Number 5. Rude. Rude. A member of the elite Turks, the shady protection elite arm of Shinra, who in our eyes are evil personified. After all, how can they all have a conscience after what they did? But in the remake, we get a remarkable insight to these members that we did not see in the original, and we will come on to another one of those in a moment. But from the perspective of Rude, with his crush on Tifa, still evident with his refusal to attack unless needed, the game allows us to see a different side and make our own minds up on why he does this. Is it because he is chivalrous? Or due to some silly high school crush? Of which I am leaning towards the former. And I'm allowed to do this because of his perception in the game. Even though he seems dedicated to his job, we see that he can be caring, with both Aerith and Elmra talking about him favourably, which is completely different from the original, where he is just portrayed as a monster at the start. Here, the game explores his motives, and we do get to understand him a lot more than we do in the original. Number 4, Reno, the other member of the Turks that we see in the game, and a game that we are supposed to hate. And whilst he is not quite as likeable as Rude, he does tend to be a little funnier. Again, like his colleague, Rude, we get to see more of him as the game shows us more of the duo. Especially different is the first encounter with him. In the original, we just see some dialogue, whereas here we are actually forced to fight him, which was a great addition, as in the original it felt missed and lacking. But more telling is that when we are about to attack him and deal extra damage, he begins to explain himself and why they are there. And this hints as to more development that could be there for him later on in the game. It was nice to see that he keeps his electric stick, and with the more advanced graphics and battle system, we can see just how efficient he is with it. And by the time we arrive at the top of the pillar, we have had enough cutscenes to see that he is not too thrilled to be there, but he is just doing his duty. Whereas in the original, it felt cold, and we got the feeling that he wanted to do that. He had no remorse for it. So I think this has been done very, very well. Number 3, Biggs. Another member of the Avalanche crew that we did not really get to meet in the original. But here we see him a lot more, and we see how capable of a fighter he is. He also seems to be very rational and the strategist behind Avalanche, and he seems to be very proud of this. And this time around, he just doesn't feel like a filler character. We can see that he is part of the neighbourhood watch for Sector 7, and we also learn that he used to be a teacher at the Leaf House before he joined Avalanche. And then we get to the Pillar chapter, and we are a lot more invested in him as a character, and he is not just simply an NPC who dies and we move on. However, at the end of the game, we are given a surprise that hopefully does not dilute the game, because a large motivation I felt after the Pillar chapter in this remake was, I really need to avenge their deaths. So hopefully his appearance at the end, waking up in a bed, does not indicate a large division in the way the game approaches the coming parts. Number 2, Madam M. New to the game, Madam M forms one of the trio alongside Chocobo Sam and Andrea Rodea, who scout for girls to be presented as possible brides for Don Corneo, Her appearance adding to the idea that Corneo is a real mafia-like boss, which should automatically mean you just want to hate her. However, as the game develops, she grows on you, and actually despises Corneo just as much as you do. Operating from her reputable massage parlor in Wall Market, she agrees to help us get a meeting with Corneo. But first we have to win her a tournament prize to do so, essentially paying her 1 million gil. And this course of action leads us to that battle. She shows a caring side for her girls when she threatens to gouge out Cloud's eyes if he peeked at Aerith, and also shows her selfishness when she warns us of the bounty on our heads, as well as the threat to Aerith's mother. And this is a character I think all of us want to see more in the next chapters. Number 1, Jessie. Top spot here for Jessie, the final NPC of Avalanche, and her development in the game is amazing. In the original, we know nothing of her, and just did not care about her. And she was given the largest development. And because of that, many gamers seem to love her character and can connect with her due to the sad and depressing backstory she is given. Furthermore, we even get to visit her family, giving us that extra dimension, learning that she's not from poverty, but actually joined for the most powerful of motives, the need for revenge. And learning about her father gives you an insight into why she is doing this and what drew her to Avalanche, abandoning her big chance at the big time on the eve of her performance because of Shinra. Before this, those of us who played the original did not think we could hate Shinra anymore, but we were wrong. This added further to our hatred, and so when the Pillar chapter came, we were all dreading what we knew was coming. And the game handled this very well, allowing us to feel incredibly guilty and sorry for her that this happened, and that we simply just did not feel that in the original. However, as some have speculated, this may not be the end for her. And so guys, there you have it, the top 10 NPCs in Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm sure some of you will disagree. Let me know down in the comments below. And if you like the video, give us a subscribe for more top 10s and other content. And thanks for watching. I have been your host, MurcianWolf, and I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.